Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a raccoon. First we'll draw a few simple shapes for a bit of structure, then add the final drawing on top using easy line work, and then add some shading for the final result. I'll add a link for the materials used in the description below, and don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe. Let's jump in. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the head. And an easy way to draw a circle is to first make a couple of small marks to indicate the circle's height, and then on the sides make a couple more small marks to indicate the circle's width. And then just connect the small marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. And sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also pause the video as you follow along to draw at your own pace. And you don't have to draw a perfect circle, but if you're having trouble drawing one, it's okay to trace the outer edge of a bowl or a cup or anything else with a circular edge. Now draw a sloping line across the circle that cuts it in half, and this will be a construction guide that will help you place the facial features later. And extend the left side of this line so that it's outside of the circle. On the left side, make a small mark to indicate the front part of the muzzle, and pay attention to where this mark is in relation to the left edge of the head circle. Now make the line longer to create the front part of the muzzle. And then add a couple of sloping lines on the top and at the bottom to finish the guide for the muzzle. And pay attention to how big this shape is in relation to the head. And on the top right side, draw a big arc as a guide for the ear. And the bottom right tip of this arc should be close to the construction guide that's inside the head. And to the left, draw a smaller arc as a guide for the ear that's on the other side of the head. And then draw a curved line at the top for the top part of the head and a bit of the neck. Don't overlap the ear as you draw the line. And add a short line at the bottom as well for the bottom edge of the neck. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch a small circle for the eye, and place the eye on top of the horizontal construction guide and close to the top edge of the muzzle. And when you get the shape of the eye right, darken the lines. And as you darken the lines, draw these small triangular shapes on the sides for the corners of the eye. And inside the eye, off to the side, draw a tiny circle for a highlight. And near the middle of the eye, draw an oval and shade it in for the pupil. And add a curved line on top of the eye for a bit of bare skin. And do the same thing at the bottom. And add a couple of short lines on the left side to extend the corner of the eye. And higher up, draw a long curved line for the big brow. And this is going to be a stylized version of a raccoon, so we're going to exaggerate the shape slightly. And darken the brow at the top, but use short angled lines to create a furry texture on the brow. And add a curved line at the bottom for the bottom part of the brow. Now in front of the muzzle, draw a couple of short lines for the overall shape of the nose. And the shape of the nose should be similar to a big pentagon. And when you get the shape of the nose right, darken the lines. And inside the nose, draw a curved line for the top part of the nostril, and then add a sort of circular shape at the bottom for the nostril's opening. And you can shade in the nostrils opening too. And below the nose, draw a line that curves to the right to create the mouth. And follow the path of the guide at the bottom as you draw the line for the mouth. And add a few short strokes on the right side to create a bit of a furry texture on the mouth. The right tip of the mouth should be below the eye. And then below the mouth, draw another sloping line for the lower jaw. You're basically darkening the guide at the bottom. And then draw a curved line on top of the nose for the top part of the muzzle. Now darken the arc on the top right side to create the ear. And add a few short strokes and angled lines along the bottom for the furry base of the ear. And add a longer curved line for the inner edge of the ear. And on the right side, draw another curved line for the back portion of the ear. And darken the arc on the left for the other ear, but make the shape thinner than the initial guideline. And now, darken the outer edges of the initial guides to create the overall shape of the head. And as you darken the guides, add a couple of short angled lines to create the furry texture on the head. And on the top right side, draw an extra curved line for the brow that's on the other side of the head. Now on the bottom right side, draw a long curved line for the side of the head. And draw this line slightly far away from the main circle so that the side of the head is wide. And then darken the line using a couple of short angled lines and strokes to create a furry texture on the side of the head. Now add a few lines inside the shape to indicate the distinctive pattern on the head. So draw a line that curves down on the side of the head below the eye. And again, use short angled lines to create a furry texture on the head. And that's it for the main part of the raccoon. Now let's move on to finalize the drawing. Now erase the initial guidelines for a cleaner drawing. And you don't have to erase all of the guidelines. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Use a kneaded eraser to pick up some of the graphite and lighten your drawing. And I'm only doing this because I'm using charcoal for my final drawing, but if you're using graphite, you can just skip this step and leave your drawing as it is and move on to the final shading portion of the video. Go over the final lines with charcoal. Make the outer edges of the head thick and dark. Now shade your drawing. I'm using a charcoal pencil with a grade of 2B, but if you want to go even darker, you can use a grade of 4B or higher, and if you want to go lighter, you can use an HB pencil. You can also push down very lightly on your pencil to get light values, and then push down slightly harder for darker values. Draw a couple of curved sloping lines across the head for the pattern on the fur. Use a dark value to shade the nose, but leave a thin strip blank at the top to create a highlight. Add a few rows of dots on the muzzle to create the base of the whiskers. Shade the big patch under the eye using a dark value to create that distinctive mask-like pattern on the fur. Shade the top part of the head using a lighter value. And as you shade, use strokes that go in the direction of the fur. Leave a few areas around the muzzle and on the head blank for the white fur. Keep shading until you're happy with the result. And that's it for the raccoon. Remember to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com for more tutorials. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. Don't forget to leave a comment, to like the video, and to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.